Hey everyone, welcome back to The Budget Sportsman. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video. If this is your first time watching a Budget Sportsman video, on this channel we are all about enjoying the sports of hunting, fishing, and the outdoor lifestyle, but always doing it on a budget. And so if that interests you, go ahead and click subscribe. But on today's video, it's going to be the first of a three-part series talking about how to film your own hunt. Already in just about a year that I've been doing hunting videos and outdoor videos, people have asked me what my equipment is, particularly in relation to hunting videos. And so today I'm going to go over exactly what my setup is, kind of show you how I set everything up, what equipment I use. On the next video, it's going to be the second part. I'm going to talk about some other types of equipment, because just because it's what I use doesn't mean it's right for you. So on the second one, we're definitely going to be talking about different types of equipment and how you choose. And then on the third video, we're going to be talking about some terminology that maybe you're not familiar with if this is your first time trying to film and produce videos. We're going to talk about settings on your camera and things like that, how you put it all together. So I hope you'll stay tuned. Let's get into my equipment and how I film my hunts. All right, so here we have my setup. And one thing I want to mention right off the bat is I have it set up just about the way I normally would, but there's a few differences that I've done just so you can see everything on camera. Ordinarily, of course today I'm standing on the ground, but ordinarily if I was on a tree stand, I would mount this a lot lower so that it's not in the way of me taking a shot with my bow or my gun. I would normally have this more down around waist height when I'm standing so I can move it around, but I can still be able to shoot around it or move it out of the way if necessary. I've just brought it up here to about chest height so that we could see it today. Also, this second camera, I would normally mount this about as high as I could reach it from where I am standing and have it looking down over me. Let's get into the two cameras that I use primarily. This is my main camera. It's the Canon 80D. I'll mention this more in the next video when we're talking more about equipment. But this camera I'm using basically because it's the camera that I had. And there's some great things about it, but there's also some drawbacks. But I'm using the Canon 80D with a 18 to 135 lens. This is my primary camera. It's the one that I'm going to be pointing at a deer and that kind of situation, or the turkey, or whatever the game is that I'm hunting. This is going to be pointed at the animal. It's also what I'm going to turn around, and this camera has a flip screen over here on the side, so I can turn the screen to see me, and I can just look at it, and I can talk into the camera for my interview shots and those kind of things when I'm telling you, the viewer, what's going on in the video. My second camera is this GoPro Session, and it's the older Session. It's not the Session 5, it's the older one. I really love this camera. It's small, it's light, it's easy to throw in a backpack, and really what this camera is doing is it's helping you feel like you're a part of the hunt. You know, a lot of guys will wear a GoPro on their hat or something like that, but all that's doing is it's duplicating what you're already getting on this camera, and it's not doing it that well. The only thing that really helps you is if you don't have time to get this camera on the animal, then it kind of gives you a backup view. What this camera does is it really helps you feel like you're a part of the hunt by seeing what I'm doing. It shows me moving the camera around as the deer's coming in. It shows me drawing back my bow. It shows me firing. It shows my emotions after the hunt, a lot of things. And it also helps to piece things together when maybe you made a jerky movement with this camera and, oh man, I can't really cut that in. It's too jerky. Well, then I can cut to this camera and kind of switch back and forth when I need to make some cuts in my main footage. Now, as a third camera, I occasionally will use this. It's a GoPro Hero Silver. It's about the same quality as the Hero Session, but it's a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier, and it's a little bit more shiny. So I just prefer to stick with the black one and not do any crazy modifications to this case. Usually when I will use this is if I've got a really good branch or something off to a side where I can then actually angle this at my face instead of angling that one behind me. Let me give you a couple of illustrations. I used this in last year's hunt on the hunt that I called the Emotional Roller Coaster. It's when I shot my buck here in Pennsylvania, and I actually had all three of these cameras running and just kind of gave me some different angles and some variety to work with. But I was in a stand where it made it really easy just to use this clamp it on a branch and get the angle that I wanted. I've also did that in several different hunts without using this, but moving the position of this camera to a different angle. In the hunt last year where I shot my doe here in Pennsylvania, I actually had that one attached out here on a branch because I was in a hang-on stand, and it was able to see my face and still get my shot and everything like that, but just a little bit different angle. And again, I did the same, very similar thing when I was hunting my big buck in Ohio. That video is called The Hunt for Monster Taco. But I had a tree over on this side of me, and I actually put this up in that tree pointing at my face, And actually, I had hunted that same stand several times, and I've been putting the camera behind me. And the morning I shot my big buck, I just had this idea, hey, I should put it up on this tree. And it worked out so well. because if you haven't seen that video, go watch it. But my reaction to the hunt was super funny, and that camera helped to capture all of that. So those are my 3 different cameras that I use. Now let me kind of show you how I put it all together. So first things first, you can see that I have my main camera mounted on a 4th Arrow stiff arm. Now 4th Arrow camera arms, I really like them. The stiff arm is the cheapest model, and I got mine on eBay to save even a little bit more money in the budget. But I've really been happy with it. I chose to wrap mine in some camo. I don't know if it's really necessary. Probably the biggest part back here is the silver part that would be shiny. This is just black and not really a big deal, but I've got my main camera mounted on that arm. It's really nice and smooth. You can move it around wherever you need to go. Really like that a lot. Now on top of that, I have the 4th Arrow fluid head, tripod head. Now this is not gonna come with the camera arm. You're gonna have to add that to your purchase or purchase it separately. It doesn't have to be 4th Arrow. You could use one from Manfrotto or any number of other fluid heads. I just happened to get mine with the camera arm when I got mine on eBay, and I've really been happy with it. Helps you make nice fluid tilts and pans, and helps keep everything really smooth. And you're definitely going to want something like this, because you really can't mount the camera directly to the camera arm and really make it work. You're really going to need something that's going to allow you to move your camera around smoothly. On top of the camera, I've got the Rode, I believe it's called the Video Micro. I've got actually a more expensive Rode mic, but it takes a battery and it's a little bit bigger. This one, I don't have to worry about the battery dying, and it's nice, small, light to throw in my camera backpack. There is a little bit of a quality difference I noticed between this one and the more expensive Rode, but just trying to keep things simple when I'm in the woods, I really like this microphone better. One other thing I wanted to point out to you is that right here on the arm, I actually have a GoPro Remote. This will start the GoPro that's up in the tree, and even if I'm using both GoPros at the same time, this will record them both. I don't have to be fiddling around starting different cameras and reaching around making a lot of motion. When I'm coming here to control this camera, I've got my GoPro Remote right here. I can turn them on and off, start and stop recordings. It will tell me if they're recording or not, tell me how long I've been recording, things like that. So really, to me, this is a great addition. Now, I've just made a little Velcro strap, kind of a DIY Velcro strap to slap that on there, and it's worked really, really well for me. One last thing I want to tell you about is how I mount this GoPro Session. Let me get it down for you. When I first got this GoPro Hero Session, I was really trying to figure out how I was going to use it to get my second camera angle. I was really thinking about wearing it on my hat or on my head somewhere, but in the past when I've tried doing that, I always feel like it gives me a headache or makes my head lean to one side, and I just really wasn't looking forward to do that. Also, like I already mentioned, it really wasn't the kind of footage that I was looking to capture. I really wanted to capture me and what I was doing in the tree stand. So I came up with this idea. I'm using this mount right here for GoPro, which is called the vented helmet strap. I think if you buy it directly from GoPro, it might be in the realm of $20. I bought this one for super cheap on eBay. Yes, it came from China. Yes, it took a long time to get here, but it was just a couple of dollars. Then it's going to come with some short straps that are made to mount to a bicycle helmet. I took those off and I bought this also from eBay, which is this cam buckle strap. And mine is about 6 feet long. It's way too long. I've really almost never needed it that long. If you're in a climber or something like that, most of the trees you're going to be in are going to be a lot shorter. But then I just weaved the new cam buckle strap through the slots of this vented helmet strap. And now all I have to do is take this strap around the tree, strap it on. It's good and secure. And the way this mount works is then I can just angle this up and down as needed to get the angle that I want. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're looking to start filming your own hunts, I hope this gives you some idea of the kind of equipment and the way that I set up to film my own hunts. I hope it's been helpful to you. If it has been, make sure you stick around until next week when we talk more about how to choose the equipment for your hunt, and then the following week when we talk about some settings, some terminology, all kinds of things like that to help you get started if you're a beginner. Until that time, I hope you remember to get off YouTube and get outdoors into God's great creation.